Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg, and tonight we're going to continue on our series of classes on Aries ascendant with Mars in the different signs. Tonight we're going to be doing Mars in Aquarius, and if we have enough time, we'll also do Mars in Pisces, and with that we'll conclude our series of the 12 combinations of Mars in 12 combinations of the Aries ascendant with Mars in the different signs and houses. And so the 11th house is the house of friendship, the house of the money you make from your career. It's the second from the 10th. For example, it's the house of children of your marriage partner, so it tells you also something about children in that position. What else does it tell you? Mars in the 10th house, 11th house tells you also about what the area of your life that's important to you, how you express your identity. The Aries identity this time is going to express itself through the 11th house affairs. And Aquarius is the house of the social life, right? The house of high society, right? It's opposite the house of children, right? Because it's the house where the friends oppose the children, right? When I have a friend who's single, he always calls me up, and half the time I have to tell him, look, I can't talk now, this kid wants this, and this kid wants that, right? So somehow it, right, it can be a tough thing for the children, right? There's a pull between the friends and the children. And also but a person who has, an Aries person, say, who has Mars in the 11th house, friendship is going to be very important. He's like a man's man. For a man, a female too, it's going to be a woman's woman type of thing. Because they're going to be very, very into society, into their group. They're very interested in group affairs. They like to be part of groups, and they're going to want to lead groups, right? If you have Aries with Mars and Aquarius, Aquarius is the social perspective. They're always working. The Aquarians are always working on a macro level. The Aquarians die in Virgo, right? The Aquarians die when they have to be servants. They have to be tied down. They can't stand it, but they love to work in macro things where they can, deal with the big picture, deal with humanity as a whole. That they love, right? That's the Aquarian. So a person who's got that Mars in Aquarius, they're going to be very, very interested in group type of things. And they're going to want to be the leader, because the Aries wants to be a leader, right? The Aries ascendant. And so they're using their Mars as part of a group type of thing. Again, it also can be politics too, because just like the Leo and Aquarius are on the same aspect, the kingship and the Leo in the sign of kingship, and Aquarius, like also the democratic ruler, the elected ruler by popular demand. That's the Aquarian. But they're both very interested in politics, which is a macro type of profession. And so, but in any case, they're going to want to be leaders in their group, in their club, in their country club, in their and whatever they are, whatever area of life they're dealing in the social picture, they're going to want to be head of that social group. And it's also very important friendship to them, right? If you have the ruling planet in the 11th, friends become very important to you, right? So again, it can hurt the marriage, it can hurt the home life, right? Because, for example, the 11th is the 8th from the 4th. 4th house is the home and the family, right? And the home and the family die in the 8 houses away, which is the 11th. So somebody who says got the ruler of their 1 in 11, they're going to be so much with their friends and their club and the macro level that they have no time for their home and family. And that could be very difficult. So a person's got the ruler of 1 and 11, they're going to make sure that they also take care of the home and the family. The man can't just be running around all the time, and then neither the woman. An Aquarius is a difficult sign for a woman because it's 8 houses away from Cancer. So the Cancer, the Aquarius, let's say the Cancer is 6 houses away from Aquarius. So the Aquarian woman is sick in the kitchen. She doesn't like to be in the kitchen. She doesn't like to cook. She likes to be out there in the high society with her friends. So it can be very difficult on that hand. She has to realize her responsibilities also to the home. So always you have to be, where you're strong in one place and can cause a deficiency in another place. So I always have to look where one thing is too strong. You'll have to find another place where you'll have to make sure that the opposite you worry about also, that you don't neglect it. Okay, so that's enough for the let's say Mars in the 11th house in Aquarius. And let's go on to the last combination, which is somewhat difficult, right? It's but you see, there's just one more second on Mars and Aquarius, because see, Mars as an Aquarius is a Capricornian sign. So it's going to tame a little bit of that Martian energy, but it's also connected, Aquarius, with Uranus. So again, it's that desire for freedom there. That's the freedom side of Aquarius. And there's also a serious side to Aquarius with the Saturnian. And it's good for the Mars in a certain sense, because in case it's Aries, it's an Aquarius with the Saturn. So it's not that overpowering. It's in an air sign. So it's, but it's going to give shape and form and direction more to that Mars. All right? It's not going to be a Mars that's, tough and aggressive for no reason. It'll give it some kind of shape and form and to move forward. Now let's go on to the last combination, which is Mars and Pisces, which is a more difficult combination. You never like, as a rule, the ruling planet falling in the 12th house, because the two signs are very, very different from each other. Aries is the very aggressive, want to be number one. His identity, the identity of the person is very, very important to them. And Mars is the opposite. Mars is like the most mystical, the most wanting to lose touch with themselves. They always want to break out of they always want to have out of the body experiences, right? They want to get outside themselves. They want to merge with everybody. As the Piscean wants to lose their identity. Aries wants to take their identity and make it number one, and everybody else cheer them on. And so it can be a difficult combination, because the Arian is trying to express itself through that Mars in Pisces. It's like I had once a client years ago. The client was a woman. She was an Aries rising, and the man, her husband, was a Pisces rising, and so he was falling in her 12th house. He's like her enemy in a certain way. But that's usually not a good combination, right? A woman is very, very aggressive, very powerful, somewhat career-oriented, over-masculine sometimes, right? And the man is very, very sensitive, shy, self-effacing. And so she came to me. They had the problem that, look, her husband wouldn't do any work. She's out there working, and he sits home all day doing nothing, and he was, I forget what he was. He was an artist or something. He liked to paint and things like that. So, but he was almost making no money. But on one hand, it was a good. They made it into a good combination. She went out and did her stuff in the world, and he sat at home and was quite contented, But the only complaint was that he wasn't making any money. So in the end, he got a job. 1 hour a day, he brought in somebody to start him off 1 hour a day with teaching painting. So he had a client for 1 hour, he had to agree to that. And so he did it for 1 hour a day, painting. And then after a year, she came back. He's too busy now. All the time he has clients teaching them painting. But in any case, you see the Aries and the Pisces, it's a difficult combination. The Pisces is very, very laid back, very much wants to, experience the higher elements. So when you have the ruler of 1 and 12, there's always a tendency towards the unworldly. It's not such a worldly combination. And so you see that in this combination with the Aries, with the ruler in with that Mars in Pisces. And later on, if I find some charts with that, there's a couple of the areas in this series where I couldn't find charts that were suitable. If I find them, though, I'll add them on later on in the series. So I hope everybody listens to the whole series of all 12 planets with the 12 signs. And next time we'll start with Taurus on the ascendant and the different planets. I thank everybody for listening.